Hello, and welcome to the Big 50, episode 50 of the Three Amigos podcast. Now, I'm Mark Mason, and I'm joined by my two fellow amigos, Brian and Joel. But this week's a bit different because Joel, the background looks a bit different. Who's the chap you're with? Where are you?
Yeah, I grew a soul patch, and I got different hair.
Yes, we're at San Diego at the Libertopia Festival. And Dash is the premier sponsor. And so we're rolling deep here. We got a big crew. We're kicking butt out here. So it's a great time. This is my co-host, Allan.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Allan. Nice to meet you.
Good to know you.
Allan, also known as Flying Free on Twitter and the Discord channels, is a longtime Dash fan. I met him at the open house in Phoenix. And this goes back to emphasize the thing of meet Dash people in person whenever you can, because great things happen when you form these connections. So Allan's been a co-organizer on these events. So for the Liberty Movement Conferences proposal I put in, I don't know if I gave him the proper credit or anything, but whatever. But he's been taking care of a lot of the negotiations for all these events and dealing with some logistics and things like that. And so, yeah, so we've been tag teaming this one, and then voice and exit as well at the end of the month in Austin. So, yeah.
Wow. So, Allan, have you done anything like this before? Have you been to these events, or did you just speak to Joel and you're just like, let's just do this? Because you guys have got what, like 5-6 events that you guys are doing in the Liberty movement?
On this proposal, I think it's 4, right? Maybe 5?
3. So this year it's been 5. I did a separate one for Liberty Forum. I did a separate one for Pork Fest.
Okay.
And then there's 3 that were part of this last proposal. One is voice and exit, and one is this one. And then the other one's the Free Coast Festival, which is in New Hampshire later this year.
So I got into Dash last year, and whenever there were events that I could make, I just would come out. So I came out to the event for the open house, and then I was out at the Reno Air Races. And then Anarchapulco. And then whenever I went to Anarchapulco, I realized, I could probably help with some of the logistics behind the scenes. I really enjoyed working the booth at the Reno Air Races and then at the Anarchapulco booth. So I figured I can kind of do a lot more of that. And I met Sky with Libertopia as we were flying back from Anarchapulco. Talked to him about Dash, told him how it worked, told him that we can put a proposal together, maybe get a sponsorship for Libertopia. And I knew Joel from the open house, so I said, hey, maybe we can put some together. And then I tried to find other events, and I found that Voice and Exit event, got in contact with them, and they were already Dash fans. Seth, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, Blaustein, I think.
Something like that.
Seth Blaustein. And then Max Borders, the other guy that runs that one. I sent a message to Seth. We had a really awesome conversation, and now we're going to be all over that event. And that seems like a really great, fun event with a fantastic message. I'm really looking forward to that one too.
Yeah.
So where's that at? Where's it at?
Austin,
Texas.
Okay. So tell me about Libertopia, because it looks like you guys have done a great job. I can see your lanyards of Dash. So you guys are like the head bill sponsors, right? And you've got some speakers. What's going on? You've got the whole crew there, right?
Yes. So as far as speaking, I'm speaking, Amanda's speaking, Ben Swan is speaking, and we're on a panel. Yes, Chuck is also speaking, and there's a Dash panel. Or I don't know if it's crypto or is it a Dash panel?
It's a Dash panel.
A Dash specific panel. So we're taking over the event that way. We got a little tent outside, like a tent booth, like an outside exhibitor thing with the Dash ATM there. And then we got a room upstairs away from everything. We're giving people free water and sunscreen and then selling them all the Dash shirts. And we got a whole bunch of pop-up banners and stuff. Really have to do a shout out to Danny. Danny says some of the crypto show. He just showed up here with his RV, and he brought a lot of stuff. Like, of course, the ATM. He brought a bunch of pop-up banners, got a bunch made. He got a local printer in San Diego to start taking Dash. So now they're on Discover Dash. So we can just print up some more stuff. And he's also basically going to be the guy who's going to be riding to all these events with us. And he's just going to carry all the crap, like all the pop-up banners, all the tables, all the material, a big chunk of the materials. It's going to be really And that's the thing is Danny's such a active person that sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything he does. So anyway.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's at all these conferences. He was just at the cannabis one.
Too. Yeah, he might be up to Pork Fest. We'll see.
Man, he gets around. He really does. But hey, it's great though because you've got like 4 keynote speakers. It's like the dream team. It's the D team, the dream team. Dash rules everything around me. Like
yeah.
So you're talking
plus a panel.
And a panel as well of the dream team.
What's the schedule of the speakers? Y'all are going on today or?
So I did not pay attention to Chuck or Amanda's scheduling, but my scheduling, because that's all I need to know from Allan's stuff, right? Is it in 2 hours I go on, do my talk, and then tomorrow right afternoon is the panel. So Ben Swan also has a talk today, and so does he's doing the lunch right now, I think.
So it's Dash everywhere. Everyone's just getting Dash today.
Yep.
Just dominating.
And they do have a live stream, y'all were saying, but it's like $100 or something.
Yeah, it's some kind of a paid live stream thing. I mean, if someone really wants to see the event, maybe it's worth it. I would say wait until it comes out on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I'll talk to Sky later and ask him when that's going to be released.
Yeah. So, Joel, can you give us a little snippet of what your talk is going to be about while we wait for the video to be uploaded in a week or two's time?
Yeah. So, I'm just talking about how great Dash is. It was funny. Albert asked me earlier today, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Dash." But no, like the first third or half of it is just what's wrong with the money, like what's wrong with the fiat currency system, and how it can be censored and devalued and stuff like that. What can we do? Well, there's Dash. It's completely decentralized. It's all the advantages of Dash, and then talk a little bit about DAO. And the one thing I put into this version of it is some decentralization stories, right? Like our story compared to the Dash core group, that they're just another group popping up doing stuff, and then also like the logo battle, and then the like my Dash wallet just building wallets out of nowhere when the core team's doing some other wallets, and just how just everything comes together and you don't need a centralized sort of system. And then I just I grabbed a bunch of Discover Dash screenshots of everywhere Dash is taken across the world. And that started to get me a little bit worked up, because as deep as I am in this whole thing, just looking at these maps, it's just like, wow, this is something serious. Like this is cool. We're getting to the spot where a lot of us can just start living off of Dash.
Yeah, what is it, over 1,000 now, right?
Yeah, we're close to 1,100 right now, but we're getting very, very close, and we still got so much more to add. I was just admiring Joel's t-shirt, actually. You just want to show that off?
Yeah, it's like apparently one of the best graphic designers in the business made after this one.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Mind you, Allan's one looks pretty good as well. So is that the one for guys got for the conference, right?
Yeah, this is the one new.
These are the ones we're selling.
With the new logo.
Oh,
yeah.
That looks pretty good.
So the way we're selling them is we're giving someone about $20 worth of Dash if they set up a new wallet and take a selfie with us. And then for $12 worth of Dash, they can go buy one of these shirts. So it's like a free shirt, but then you get $8 in Dash on top of that. And then the guy who makes these pins is here, cool. And he little lapel pins, and Davi Barker, I think Brian might know who he is.
Yeah.
And he's here, and he takes Dash for that. So you can spend $10 on a pin here, and then there's a Dash ATM if you want to get more. And yeah, it's a pretty good experience for people.
Yeah, Davi was with Bitcoin Not Bombs. What other coins are out there making a big presence?
So there is a Bitcoin.com guy, Sterling, who I met at the Texas Bitcoin conference. He's a good guy. I don't know if they have anyone else from Bitcoin.com out there, but at least he's there. And there's some ICO banner I saw somewhere, which I don't know if that's. But then also the Edge Secure team is there. So first thing, as soon as I saw Paul, he just runs up to me and gives me a hug because of the Dash Force News article on his wall. He's like, "Oh, that was a great article. Thanks so much." So apparently they're our best buds now.
Did you go over there and you say dip 4? Now you've got to get privates and masternode voting on Edge.
I was talking to their team about that, and I will talk to him specifically. Whenever I get a spare moment and he has a spare moment, I'll go just say, look, here's what you got to do. Deterministic masternode lists. Say
Is that available now to developers?
Not yet. I think it's going to be around 12.4. So 12.3 hopefully will be released very soon. I mean, all these reports and updates I keep seeing say it's like done. They're just prepping it for a release. So yeah, Dash is cranking out a bunch of good stuff. And I can't wait for 12.4, and I can't wait for wallets to start working on private send integration, because that'll be something that no other coin has, is trustless privacy on mobile. And so then that'll be Dash is the very top privacy coin easily, because everything else, the way Dash is structured, you can do privacy on mobile if you can pull that if you can query that list of masternodes without querying the blockchain, like you right now have to do. And the problem is other coins have to communicate with the node in order to broadcast a transaction, and they have to encrypt the transaction data, which if it's encrypted, the node can't read it. So the node has to at least be able to read it and then broadcast it from there. So you're going to have to trust a party to use it, and just the way encrypted coins work. And so that's, as far as I know, that's like a insurmountable obstacle. Like, or at least, I don't know if it's insurmountable, but it's no one knows how to surmount it now. So Dash is already going to be the one you can just say, here, send me some. And then someone's going to say like, hey, send me some Zcash. Well, I got the Zcash wallet that doesn't have the privacy. Sorry. You'll be able to just buy your coffee anonymously.
It's going to be great. Third-party wallets. I think it's going to be definitely the way forward. And you're right, there's a lot of concern with the privacy coins at the moment, with the news that came out about Japan last week. So that was a bit disappointing. But anyway, I just want to focus on the event because you guys are there. I want to get Allan more in the mix. So I think it's important to stress that this isn't a cryptocurrency event that you're at. It's a libertarian type event, right? So typically that audience is quite open to alternative currencies. So you're targeting the right demographic there. So apart from the cryptocurrencies, has there been any merchants or people that you've mingled with and had good conversations with? What's the reception been like?
Yeah, it's been a great reception from my standpoint.
Everyone's interested.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is this is compared to like a year or two ago when, some hardcore people were into like cryptocurrency. Like Jeffrey Tucker is here, and he was always into Bitcoin and stuff in the early days, and now he's into Bitcoin Cash. But he was like one of the first mainstream libertarian thinker type people to really be promoting crypto. But now it's almost like if you're at one of these events, you know what it is, and you're probably using it or had some or whatever. And so it's like the natural Dash demographic, especially since these people are people who want to use it. They don't just want to, I'm going to speculate on it, or I care about the tech. The tech is like, they want to actually use it to live free now. So it's, it's my tribe, right? My people. And that's something Chuck likes to say, your tribe. Anyway, and it's interesting because it's myself, Allan, and Chuck, and Amanda and Pete, all met at the open house. And so now we're all here again, on the ground. And yeah, it's interesting how small of a world the Dash world is. Dash Nation is very small.
Yeah,
we're everywhere.
One thing that might be of interest to you, Joel, because you guys being at the event, you guys need to catch up with the Q1 2018 summary call today. Now, most of it was going back on stuff in the first quarter that we've already seen in terms of integration. So on Joel's front, there won't be much new for you. But there was one revelation that there's going to be a Dash conference this year. They don't know when it's going to be, probably the second half of 2018. But it's going to be US bound. So maybe New Hampshire, maybe where else? Let's get some suggestions going.
I got to start talking to Fernando and them, because part of the Dash conference thing, it would be sad to me if they held the Dash conference somewhere where you can't really use Dash. That's the sad part about Libertopia, is until we landed here, there was no place here that was no place here in the San Diego area that was accepting Dash. And it's like, oh yeah, have a Dash conference. Whoa, what can you do with it? Well, oh, nothing, Jira. Like, get it somewhere where there's some adoption. Obviously, I would advocate for New Hampshire, but there are other places too you can get something going on, right? There's there's plenty of places. Even in New York City, there's like one crypto accepting restaurant that I know of there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Let's be fair. There's always conferences and blockchain events going on in New York. In fact, I think Keynote have got one in June there. So, I'm easy. I'm happy with anything, just to get out of the house. But I'm looking forward to Porkfest as well.
Yeah, what is the mission statement or whatever of the Libertopia? What is their pitch? What is their?
I think it's they say it's like the premier event for voluntarism, or what do you guys call it?
That's Brian's V logo.
Okay, voluntarism.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a good consistency of libertarians, voluntarists, and anarchists. It's that general mindset of liberty, freedom, all things peaceful, all things voluntary.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to explain for our international audience. So it's not. I don't think of it as a kind of a political kind of party, because people see like attribute libertarian to like a political point of view. But if we just say because it's celebrating freedom, right? And having discussions about freedom, what's going on in the world, and just having a frank conversation about different avenues. So really, it's applicable to anyone. It's not a strictly US thing.
Right, and it's the philosophy. So like small L libertarianism is not the party, it's the philosophy. Like the non-aggression principle, all things peaceful, all things voluntary. That's basically the gist of the philosophy. I mean, we could talk about it for hours upon hours, and I have.
Everyone is.
You're at the right place, right?
Yeah, for sure. And how crypto in general, how Dash specifically is going to be one of the great tools in this next wave of freedom. We're hoping that we're going to be able to, transcend above the state. We have a really good shot now. And I tell people that, I'm looking forward to this modern renaissance that's happening. It's exciting, and what Dash can do to help is mind blowing.
Is Jeff Berwick there? That seems right up his alley.
I don't think so. I didn't see him.
He was set as one of the speakers. Maybe it canceled, but I'd have to look at the schedule and see if he's here. He was supposed to be here. I don't know if he's still on the schedule. I'll have to look.
So compared to a lot of the libertarian type conferences I used to go to years past, were a little bit more politically motivated. They're a little bit more, here's the group of people that are talking about government policy and what's bad and what's good, and then talking about sometimes elections or getting voted and stuff, and getting a very small minimal role for government and society, a minimal to none role, right? And these kinds of conferences tend to be bizarre because you think of it as a political ideology, but there's almost nothing political being talked about. It's like this is much more of a wide net of activity where you have people who are into, for example, peaceful parenting, that believe that they should raise their kids without hitting them or yelling at them, or and just taking a much more less frictionful authoritarian approach to child rearing, right?
And I'm a dad. I have a pretty good story behind that. I have twin boys. I was a bit of an authoritarian father early on. I discovered voluntarism and peaceful parenting, and it changed our lives. I mean, we're such a happier family, and gave them the opportunity of getting out of their schooling system, which they took happily, and they're doing fantastic. And actually, my sons, Aaron and Blake, are here.
Yeah, wearing Dash shirts.
They're wearing Dash shirts, helping out in the booth.
Was that one of the kids reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Is that one of your kids?
Diary of the Wimpy Kid?
I
saw someone reading the book. It was obviously the movie. I'm British, so I clocked onto that.
That might have it's one kid. I don't know. He's here with one of his kids.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll take pictures with them and I'll send them to you guys. You can see them.
Yeah, but like family thing is actually a really good thing to bring up, right? Because a lot of these blockchain cryptocurrency events, it's like a sausage fest. It's just all men. So what's the demographic like there now? Is it a good mixture of like male, female, family? There's obviously kids at the event. So is it like a family affair?
When necessary, yes. But it's got quite a good sex balance there. It's not like all dudes by a long shot, because when you start making it less about a political ideology, it's more about how do you live your life in a more free way. So you have a lot of people talking about that, and a lot of people are into alternative medicine and health and things like that, and they go talk about that. A lot of people, I've seen a couple of people walking around with like the baby strapped to them, just wrapped up there. And so Danny is here with his son Dan, who looks just like Danny except without as much gray hair and a little bit lighter skin. And then obviously Allan and his kids, Ben Swan and his kid. There's a lot of family stuff going on here, which is, it's kind of cool that it's not like, it's like the nerdy person who goes to the crypto conference and kind of secretly hopes that there's strippers at the after party or whatever. It's like, well, not that there's anything wrong with that, right? But it's more of just like a whole kind of thing, and that's pretty good, because that's one of the Dash Advantage things. You're not going to have someone talk to your girlfriend about the new ICO, or then how this affects decentralization and Turing completeness. No, they don't. But digital cash, you can just, hey, set this up, beep, send it. Oh, that was easy. Like now you have demographics that wouldn't necessarily be into it normally. Now they get it, and so Dash especially has that advantage, because it's also all the pretty blue. How can you not like the best logo in the crypto business?
Well, we haven't got a choice now. It's been voted on, and that's decentralized governance for you. That's what we should be celebrating.
Voting is violence.
And just to answer your question, Brian, Jeff Berwick's going to be here Sunday. I just double checked the schedule on that.
Okay, and then there was a lady, Dana Martin. She did it was peaceful parenting and unschooling. It seems like I don't know if she's going to be there. She's usually at a lot of those.
Yeah. Peaceful parenting stuff, great.
So there's a lot of there are some precious metal people here too, which is it had like a slogan on their little truck that said like "Secure Your Future," and I wanted to like put a sticker on it and said "Secure Your Past." Because Dash is how you secure your future. It's like, but anyway, that's a little bit of a hater thing.
Save that for your talk later.
Haters. So nothing happened yet, right? Although the Smart Cash people are here, and they brought their own lanyards, and they're the only people who aren't wearing Dash lanyards, because they just don't want to wear Dash lanyards, which looks a little bit weird, but it is what you want to do. Other than that, there hasn't been any conflict. However, there was a guy, I forget his whole name, but his first name's Ragnar, who's like a long blonde-haired dude who's like a Bitcoin maximalist who's going to be talking. And when he saw all the Dash people on the speaking thing, he was like losing it on Twitter. He's like one of those key people that whenever you see one of Roger Vere's Twitter posts, that he's all like commenting and saying hateful things and stuff. So so he's going to be here, and I like to have like a little pushback, because sometimes you have to, like, everything and everyone has some kind of an enemy out there. It's not necessarily a forward thing. It's a reactive enemy, right? Someone who does not like you, not someone that you don't necessarily like. And the best way to win against your enemies is just to win, and win in their presence. And it has nothing to do with competing, attacking, destroying, any of this ugly stuff that I'm just tired of seeing in the cryptoverse. But like, I want to see Dash rolling deep at all these conferences, and it brings me some joy to see some hateful person there, because then they can't say anything, and then they have to be quiet on their hate a little bit, and then everyone gets a little bit nicer, and it's just that, it's going to be interesting. I hope there's no heckling going on or anything, but I'll let you know in like, what is it, an hour and a half when I do my talk. I'll let you know if anyone heckled us.
So how many days is people speaking? They're speaking today, Saturday, and then is it over Sunday, or are people speaking Sunday?
I think it lasts until 5 p.m. on Sunday. So
When did it start? Did it start Thursday or did it start today?
yeah, like, sign-in was like starting at 5 p.m. on Thursday, and it goes until 5 p.m. on Sunday. So we get quite a little bit of distance out of this thing. Got a long event. It's like most of a week.
Well, I guess one of the good things is that when you go to some of these crypto events, there's a lot of tribalism because people are set in their ways. They already kind of have a portfolio or allegiance to one or a few coins. Where I guess from here, a lot of the people that you're talking to have like a clean slate, even if they're just fully into precious metals. I guess the conversations that you're having with people on the ground are very different from what you'd have at actually a crypto event or a crypto meetup.
Yeah, and so here's the thing that really works with these kinds of events. What really works is one-on-one interactions, and what you got to do is get as many one-on-one interactions as you can. Volume of personalization, right? It's not your big talk is not going to, I mean, there's nothing wrong with those, but that's not going to change hearts and minds. It's not going to be the big talk. It's not going to be, oh, look, we had like more swag out there. Oh, look, we have the flashiest banner. No, it's just you talking to a person one-on-one and just having a relationship with them, setting up with getting a Dash user, getting them to spend it here, buy some more from the ATM. That personal one-on-one things many times repeated as you can. And so I have these cards that I bring around. It's a Discover Dash card. Just tells people about Discover Dash. But on the back, it says want to learn more in a contact, and it's blank. So what I do is I either just give these out to people, or just go to Discover Dash. Or if we have a conversation, like someone's like, oh yeah, I'd really like to set up my business with Dash, but I don't know like what point of sale software is there, whatever. So I said, okay, here's your pen, write down your contact info, and then say what it's about. Say, want to take Dash for business. And then we just collect these and then get back to them. And then there you go. So
there's a lot of interest. Like people are wanting more. So when we're done giving them their Dash, telling them about the shirts, explaining how how our ecosystem is present at the event, they want more. So we give them cards, and I give them my information. They're free to call, free to text, free to, I had cards made up for myself, and I have the Discord, that dashchat.org, my Discord handle. They can start messaging there. The Dash Discord is some of the best places to introduce someone to the community. We're all so friendly there, helpful. People want more whenever you talk to them about this stuff, and I think especially in the voluntarist libertarian community, they understand the tool that crypto is. Tucker last night was talking at a dinner, and he talked about how important he sees cryptocurrency being in this next phase of growing liberty. And I mean, we haven't had this opportunity in thousands of years. We've had top-down central control of the money, for as long as history's probably been written.
Yeah. So if you ask me, like, it used to be people who advocate for human freedom have like a bunch of different things. It used to be like 90% political, like 90% of it was like, how do we get into government and make it go away and all this kind of stuff. And then there was like a 10% was like precious metals. It was like 90% that, 10% precious metals. And that's kind of like what libertarianism used to be about in terms of like what the movement focused on. Now the governmental thing is like the 10% at most. Like it's really, people don't seem to care about that anymore. And then it seems to be a lot of lifestyle practices and stuff like that. And then cryptocurrency is like a third of it. It's like a big chunk of it. And if you ask me, everyone who's professionally involved with cryptocurrency in the liberty movement, it'll be about the vast majority of them will be involved in crypto in the next couple of years. Like crypto is liberty, liberty is crypto pretty much. There's very little, like the Venn diagram or the crossovers, there's like very little that's independent in terms of like crypto people who just don't care about liberty, or crypto as a technology that doesn't care about liberty. I mean, Ripple, I don't know. There's like very little of that. And then as far as libertarians who just will not care about cryptocurrency that's like by people or something.
Yeah, I've seen the switch from the people like at Pork Fest. Remember, they used to be into silver and stuff, and they were, the booths were all silver, and now they're all like crypto. They're all going to Dash. So yeah, people used to trade little silver dimes and stuff, and now it's all about the crypto.
Yeah. I did in 2014. I was at Pork Fest, and I only brought Bitcoin with me. Brought no fiat at all, and so I spent it the whole week there, and then there was a couple vendors that didn't take it, and so I bought a couple little pieces of silver from another vendor with Bitcoin and then used the silver to pay for it. So, but yeah, now it's just all over.
Have you spoken to any local residents there about Alt36? Because although they haven't got the transmitter license for California, it's in the works. We know that Arizona's in the bag, but California's come in. So I'm assuming the whole cannabis scene in California, from what I see from Snoop Dogg videos, is quite a popular thing over there.
Yes.
I've had a couple conversations. One of them, a couple here, but I've actually had a few of them back at home. Been into a couple dispensaries asking if they know about Dash or Alt36 or crypto in general, and they're really interested to get some kind of solution because they can't get anybody to service them. But it's been hard to get information from Alt36. They're just not as responsive yet. So, I know we have that countdown timer that's going to be launching
like in 10 days or something
in mid-May. So as soon as I'm hoping that when that takes off, it'll start to snowball. I did get some conversations with one of their people through email, and he said that I can give his email address, but they're looking for people that are in the cannabis industry themselves, or what term did he use? Someone that could write like programming for some of these other I guess point of sale systems that are already existing. I'll dig up his email and get the right wording. But whenever someone asks for point of sale, I either ask if they're in the cannabis industry or if they could tell me who their point of sale service provider is currently, and maybe we can get Alt36
like integrated
into something that they use already.
Yeah,
I think that's their focus right now.
Go to the head of the snake. I like that approach. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So, yeah, wow. So, this isn't your first time in California, is it? Because you're
about me.
Yeah. Because
I live in Southern California, born and raised here.
Oh, you're born and raised. Oh, okay. I know you mentioned before, like off camera, that you got a crib there, but I just assumed that because so many people come from the New Hampshire area, and obviously you're pretty close with Joel doing all these proposals for events. So I just assumed you traveled there as well. So okay, so it's not too far for you to go to this event then.
No, LA, so a couple hours south of me. It's fun.
Oh, this is great then. So, because I'm presuming at these Liberty events, there's lots of independent merchants. So hopefully at some point you can go around, talk to the different vendors there and have a conversation. Yeah. And especially if they're localized, you're not too far away. So you can always follow up on that. So,
right.
That's
a couple.
Yeah. Cause,
I've had a couple conversations like that already with vendors, and there's a lot of interest. And I tell them about AnyPay. That's the one that works right now. Yeah, there is a lot of interest. So we're definitely on the cusp of something big with AnyPay, with Alt36, with Evolution coming out in a few months. It's exciting for sure.
Yeah, it's very fun to see because a lot of people don't appreciate hard work, really. A lot of people, and especially in the crypto space, and we had a conversation about like ICOs and tokens and how they could legally qualify as securities and things like that. And just thinking about people who might have projects that might have done things that will harm them in the long term because they were too impatient to just mine from the start, to like just do good old fashioned Dash Bitcoin whatever style launch. And there's just a lot of people that just want to jump to the top of everything and don't want to go through the patience that it takes. And there's been a lot of patience that's taken. Like, for example, Dash has been Dash for a long time, right? Dash has been Darkcoin and then Dash and then just tweaking, improvement over time, and just lots of research, lots of building out teams, lots of just like slow and steady wins the race. And then you got, some people, there's a few major coins that are like some kind of a smart contract type platform that just right away started selling tokens for the platform. Like, oh, just buy the tokens and you'll get converted to the thing, and then you get to be on the thing. And there's like a bunch of them that are doing that. And then Dash doesn't have evolution tokens. Oh, buy the tokens and you'll be able to, like, it's just the slow and responsible way of doing things. And you're starting to see a lot of fruits of that approach. Now you get a lot of like long-term fans. You get a lot of experience. You get a lot of traction. And just like over time, it's just, I think we're getting to the dipping point. The dashing is upon us.
I love that phrase. Hashtag the dashing in.
So just to get the phrase right, it's Richard Thorne with All 36, and he said they're looking for integrated software vendors. So anyone that's, I guess, that they can integrate with that's existing, and of course any cannabis merchants. Those are that's their focus right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing, because of the restrictions, a lot of these cannabis dispensaries are like strictly cash only in some circumstances. Right. So I guess that's kind of a reasonable ask. I'm sure after the big reveal of the website, lots more details are going to come out from the woodwork. We know that they said they wanted to eventually go into the retail sector as well, but baby steps, right? One thing first.
And so we worked so hard for so many years to discover Dash at these 1,000+ merchants. I mean, and already we're seeing on some of these areas, it's just these clusters are huge. And that's like half of what All 36 is planning on getting, like, instantly, like as soon as they launch, like in just one US state. So I am being a little bit patient with them, as much as it's like, oh, I wish they wouldn't reset the counter. Oh, I wish they would just answer my emails. Oh, I understand, but at the same time, I also get that they're biting off the biggest piece of crypto adoption that's ever been bitten off. And this is like, I think we've sometimes failed to appreciate that. There's a bunch of, like, you could say Overstock started taking Bitcoin and a bunch of people started doing it, whatever. But that's like still one site, and it's like, oh, now Bitcoin fans can buy stuff. It's always been, oh, this new place starts taking crypto, you can buy stuff. Or it's been like Backpage starts using Bitcoin in the background for transactions and stuff, and then, oh, well, now that's an actual use case. But here it's not just, oh, we got a bunch, 1,000 merchants now taking Dash. It's like, it's more than that. It's 1,000 merchants that are going to be pushing hard for people to use Dash. And there's going to be people who don't care about Dash who are going to be using it because it helps them out. And just sort of the floodgates are getting ready to come. And, oh, by the way, so on my flight over here, saw a Dash ad, wearing a Dash shirt, going to a Dash conference. There's a Dash ad at my headrest. The dashing is upon us. Don't be left behind.
Dash is taking over.
That proposal,
I don't think it passed, did it?
No, it didn't pass. I don't know how long the run is on it, but yeah, it didn't. Hopefully they'll be back. I think they asked for too much. I really liked that campaign, but yeah, it was a big ask this time, and they did like 6 months, and it was like 350 Dash. Hopefully they'll come back and scale it back, considering the budget.
Yeah. I've been talking to a few different people today, especially about proposals that didn't go through, and about like, well, how do we deal with that? And then, yeah, it's I think that unfortunately the month delay and the 5 Dash loss together make it really hard to come back after not getting funded. And it's still possible though, and the thing that unfortunately a lot of these bigger proposals don't get it done in the pre-proposal, or a lot of them have to come back to the negotiating board. A lot of them did great, there just wasn't enough Dash available, and then they have to come back and try again, or have to see if they want to try again, or do a more limited ask and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's funny because this is a funny thing I just thought of. There are more people who submitted Dash proposals here that did not go through than there were people for representing any other cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Just the people who had Dash proposals fail recently, they outnumber the cryptocurrency, the team of any other cryptocurrency, or even the Ed wallet. So it's a weird metric to think about, but it's just like the Dash economy is so big. There's just so much of it.
Yeah, man. I think the whole Ben Swan, Chuck, I really hope, and I'm looking forward to watching these videos, man, because I'm gutted. I wish I could be there. I've seen some of the pictures. It looks very sunny there. There's lots of boats and yachts as well next to the event. It's very scenic.
Yeah, everyone came in a boat. But it's a funny. I like take because you see the stage. It's like a Concerts by the Ocean stage where they, a bunch of like a major music venue take place. You just look that way, and there's a sea of yachts, and it almost looks like the people at the conference just parked all their yachts there and just got there. It's like, nah, crypto hasn't gone up that much yet.
Next year, next year.
So it's no longer about Lambos. It's about how big your yacht is.
Yes. So here is another bit of information I heard from someone who gets paid in Dash. Apparently, Uphold is a really good service. We already knew this, but especially if you want to lock in the fiat value like right away. So if you Chuck brought I believe his name is Chris, a new Dash core team member who's working under him, who's from the area. So, and I of course gave him a tentative Amigos invite, and he said he'd love to. So we might see more of him soon. But we were all talking about getting paid in Dash and like the growing pains of that, and like what happens if the price fluctuates. And so, if you get paid in Dash, if you can get an Uphold account and just whatever you can't afford to lose, instantly lock it into fiat. That's what Uphold's good for. And I also heard that if you get a high-level verification on Kraken can get to your bank, like crypto to your bank really quickly. So it seems like if you're used to doing a lot of Dash to fiat in the U.S., I don't know, Kraken works in a bunch of countries, though, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think they've got like the Euro as well. So, yeah, Kraken's very popular exchange.
Yeah, so Kraken Uphold is everywhere, too. So if you use the Kraken, Uphold is like the small time, especially if you just want to freeze the money in fiat denominations. And Kraken, if you get a high enough verification level, you can just get paid in Dash, and the next day it's in someone's bank account.
Yeah, so, Uphold. You can also do gold, silver, I think.
Yeah, although you can't feed your bullion into the phone and then get Dash. It doesn't quite work like that, but close enough.
Is everyone selling bullion there? Have you seen any precious metals sellers there? The merchants?
I saw someone selling coins.
Yeah, I should ask if they take Dash.
What about guns? Because obviously I'm European.
They're in California.
Guns are rare here.
No, that's a no-go. Oh, it's a liberal era, isn't it? So, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
That's an interesting thing. There's more of like a hippie vibe, so a lot of people coming from the left. So those conversations are also interesting because people are, they're still into freedom and liberty. They just come at it from a different perspective. It's interesting. My girlfriend Lauren, we've had really long conversations on this. She comes more from the left. You might consider I come more from the right. So our conversations are really interesting in that, and our end goal is the same, more freedom and prosperity and human flourishing. But the conversations are just a little bit different. And I've learned a lot from her on how to approach Californians, basically, because we're just different out here, I guess. Notice anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because everyone has their own unique culture and stuff. And so out here, recreational marijuana is legal. So you can go down, I could go buy a big bag of weed or edibles or whatever here, and just no problems. Walk in, just say, I'm not sick, I just want to get high. Sure, where's the money? And then there you go. It's like that easy. And then you go to more conservative states like in the South, like I'm sure Texas is pretty bad at that stuff. It's just hard to, it's just really hard to get that. And then on the other side, like you can walk down the street with any kind of a gun on your hip in New Hampshire, and no one cares.
Just an open carry.
Yeah, or concealed carry. You have a like you can strap a rifle to the back of your back and drive a motorcycle around without a helmet on, and just no one cares because that's just what you do. You could just go like you're gonna invade Poland, just with a rifle on your back, just going down. You can be driving in your car with a seatbelt, with no seatbelt on, and a gun down your pants, just like whatever. And yeah, and here, people freak out. They're like, someone's gonna get shot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's so different.
But I mean, even for me, like when we look at industries that there's been strict censorship or some kind of media dialogue where they've kind of been demonized and they're trying to come through the other side, I can see how Dash could really help just the gun industry. So for me, obviously, we don't have guns over here where I am. Well, not legally anyway, right? But
we don't have knives here.
Oh, yeah, we got knives, all sorts of things.
Spread your butter with the palm of your hand now.
Yeah. But like I can see the gun industry being follow on to the cannabis industry next, because whenever you've got like government pushing down a particular area, then you've got avenues where you need to find solutions to fix problems, right? And if you don't fix those problems, you're pushing people to go into the black market to get things, and then that's when things get horrible. But it's through that suppression, it could have been resolved in a much more better way, right? So
that's what liberty is about. It's about radical choice, individualism. So you can choose whatever you want, and it's all about you and your preferences, and that doesn't affect someone else and their preferences. And that's what crypto is too. Like with Dash, you get to use Dash for whatever you want, and no one can stop you. And so they might as well just get used to you. Like they don't have to do the things you want with Dash. Like some people might hate weed, but they don't need to buy it with Dash. But they can't stop someone from using Dash to buy it either. And so I think what we're going to see is with the financial freedom coming up through cryptocurrency, we're going to see a lot more people willing to disagree, as opposed to, well, you have different values than me. I'm going to make you live by my values, or we got to fight over whose values win. Eventually, you might not be able to have your value. You might have like ammo boxes piled up to the windows behind you, and then someone else would just have like, hula hoops and, marijuana and unshaven armpits piled up to the windows, and just like, but that's just you, and just you realize that you're different,
Yeah, the great thing about a libertarian society, I'd say this to Allan's girlfriend, is that with the libertarian society, everybody's welcome. I mean, you can have a socialist, commune or whatever set up in a libertarian society. Now, if it's a socialist society, not so much. But libertarian, yeah, you're free to pretty much do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, that's true. Our conversations really surround ethics now. We're really trying to parse out ethics. And you familiar with Sam Harris?
Yeah.
No.
So she introduced me to Sam Harris, and he's trying to put together, the moral landscape, like getting conversations going about ethics. And I'm a follower of Molyneux from back in the day. Yeah, he took a bit of a turn, but sure.
Oh,
I learned a lot about Stefan Molyneux. I learned a lot about ethics, and getting all that. Talking about it is so important, and so many people. It's really hard. Like it's really hard to really figure out, principles of ethics, the consequentialist arguments, and it's we have a lot of work to do basically when it comes to parsing out all these different philosophies. We all want the same thing. When you really get down to it, people just look at government action as the necessary thing to get what we want. And I disagree with that. I have long conversations on how best to accomplish that. And Dash, I think, is the biggest tool that's going to help us get there in the next, few years. I was just having a conversation with Pete. He's starting up something out in Vegas, and we're talking about how, some of these services that wanted to push for like security policing services, decentralized in a way. There's a couple of apps that were going to come out. We're a little disappointed that one of them isn't out. And then, Peacekeeper, exactly. And then that kind of throws me back to a conversation that I was having at the open house last year, where Evan was talking about, in the future, when Dash gets big enough, you might have sub DAOs that offer some of these services. You can have a peacekeeping service. And the thing that was brilliant that I heard Pete just say, you can have, maybe you can tip someone for doing some Good Samaritan work, where, you help someone do something, and you share the act on something like Peacekeeper, or the idea of Peacekeeper. And you could tip each other in Dash. Like, who knows where things could go.
Yeah, or think about what happens if so we're talking about the whole, whenever people get into radical libertarian ideology and how scary that is. The biggest scary thing is like, well, what would happen with the roads? Who would build roads? However can we get roads built? And so I grew up in the north of rural Mexico, and the government did not maintain those roads at all. It was the local ranchers that did. They'd all get together like once every year or so and pool money to hire a tractor to come and just grade the road through. And they needed a road so they could do business, so they all made it happen somehow without government. And sometimes there would be one of the other ranchers who would be a little bit of a jerk and not want to pay his part of the thing. And then there was social and business consequences, because like, oh, that's the guy who doesn't want to pay for his tractor. We're not going to, he's the guy who had made me pay for more. We're going to sell our cows to the other ones. Like, this is my childhood growing up. And so you start to see a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And I really think that it's going to be interesting to see Dash become the linchpin for all this, because a lot of people in the crypto sphere sort of make fun of Dash for being like, too politically correct, too mainstreamy, too, friendly blue PayPal. Oh, we don't want PayPal 2.0. We want decentralized cypherpunk this. And it's like, yeah, but you make this for everyone. And you don't have to, don't want to pay people ideological money. And I actually saw the negative effects of that, because I tried to have a Dash meetup at a local coffee shop in New Hampshire. It was owned by some left-leaning people. And they kind of were like, nah, we don't want that here, because it's like too politically charged or something. And it's like, well, what's politically charged about Dash? But they didn't know. They just knew about Bitcoin, that they heard it's this cypherpunk anarcho money thingy. And they're just like, no, we just want regular money, regular business.
Yeah, well, Goldman Sachs just announced this week that they were going to move into the trading the cryptos. So it's becoming more and more. I mean, I don't know if those are the best people to have on board, but at the same time, you got to have people like that.
I want my enemies use this too.
It's just adoption, though.
That's actually a really good point. I think it's important to have everybody using it, no matter what their ideology is. That kind of proves that, Dash is cash. Anybody could and should use it.
Yeah, man.
Can't restrict it. And so that's when we talk about like enemies and stuff like that, and there is no enemy, if you ask me, in terms of this is technology for the whole world to use, and we want everyone to be better off from using it. And so the day that I'll be happiest is the day when I see people who used to hate on Dash, like I see them sneaking a payment in on the wallet there, buying their whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. And not to rub it in or anything, not to be like, you were wrong, loser, sucker. None of that stuff. Just like, now we know it works, and we're doing a good job when people who were skeptical are now involved with it. And that's ultimate victory for me, and that's why we're trying to be ubiquitous and everywhere, is because we don't just want crazy anarcho fanboys like us, right? We don't just want people like us using this stuff. We want everyone using this stuff.
Yeah, man.
I got my mom her Dash, and she's excited about it, and I talked to her a lot about it, and the idea that evolution is going to come out to get people like my mom interested, it's fantastic. And then hearing the last two Dash demos, the evolution demos, I had to watch them a couple times just so I can kind of get all the implications of what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's that first one, like, it blew my mind. You hear a lot of people talking about these other coins that are like Ethereum, quote unquote, Ethereum killers. Dash is going to compete in that space. Very simple, unique piece of code that just, attaches whatever a developer wants to the Dash blockchain, but the blockchain doesn't have to have everything. I found that completely mind blowing.
Yeah,
and no one's talking about it.
And so
we're like completely under the radar right now.
I was talking to Ian Marshall, our good old Dash Drive 4 buddy, and he was talking about. So first off, the guy's obviously very smart because he's working on Dash Drive for his day job, and then at night in his free time, he made his own blockchain. He coded in Lisp, which is a special coding language that has a bunch of different applications, and so now he made his own coin, and he's just like sending the blocks through just so he better understands. He's building his own blockchain-based cryptocurrency from scratch just so he can mess around and understand the stuff better. And so he was talking about Ethereum, and he was saying, and so obviously this is going to sound a little bit like talking smack, except that I'm just sort of repeating what I heard, and I don't completely understand it. So just repeat it, right? But he says that like Ethereum, he says he doesn't think it's going to work. Like it's one of the most incredibly inefficient ways of doing what it's trying to do. That just monetizing everything, like to where everything costs money to move. It's really expensive, and then everything is on the blockchain, and everything runs. Like it seems like a very clunky kind of way of getting this done. So we'll see if Ethereum pans out to be something amazing. But like part of it is you learn from things that don't work, and you don't put clunky encumbered systems, and you figure out something new. And it just seems like the Dash Evolution platform is going to be able to handle a bunch of cool new stuff, but it seems like it's going to be very simple and lean despite that.
Yeah.
Dash has always been very simple and lean, and like everyone gets into like, oh, encryption. We're like, when is Dash going to do encrypted transactions? It's like, well, there's a lot of problems with encrypted transactions. Notably, you can never really workably use them on mobile devices. They bloat your blockchain, and they make you more vulnerable to quantum computing down the road. And then some people were saying, well, what if Dash just got stealth addresses? And so the problem with stealth addresses, from what I think Joshua was explaining this, is that they're slower and harder to use because you have to basically resync the whole blockchain to be able to use them. And of course, this is going to be the stupid quote that gets taken, that people use to prove that I'm an idiot or something. But something to that effect, there's always a more complicated layer to that. And I just like that Dash is keeping things elegant and simple and just streamline and make it work and just polish it, just keep going over it with that little brush over and over until it's perfect.
Yeah, from what I understand, I got an echo. Is that me or?
Dude, I don't know. I don't hear it.
From what I understand about the evolution is that we will have a form of stealth addresses. They're just not calling it that. It kind of works the same way.
Because you can send to a username,
right?
And so, from what I heard, it will be a single static address behind it. If you don't friend it, if you friend someone, then you'll be able to generate a new address every time you send to them. But if you just send to at say Dashy, so you want to give Mark some money so you can get a wig or something, and then so you just send to at Stay Dashy, go to a single address, and then you wouldn't be able to be like, oh, how much does he have there? Because obviously, I think you could switch out the addresses too. Yeah, so it wouldn't be to where it's like put that address on the blockchain. You know,
Yeah, there's probably also going to be. I was talking to Pasta about the dApps and stuff. So there's probably going to be some kind of a third-party dApp to do mixing and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's great that even without evolution, because I don't think evolution's actually been factored into the price of Dash as of yet. But even without that, I still think Dash as a payment system is absolutely fantastic. One of the best things I saw this week was actually Danny from the Crypto Show interviewed Chuck Williams on evolution, and they spoke about using evolution for authentication reasons. There was a games developer saying like how it could be implemented and used in like a Steam's gaming platform. And if you've not checked that interview out, it's on dashforcenews.com. Definitely go watch it, because I think that was probably the best Dash evolution interview I've seen to date. I don't know if anyone else had a chance to check that out, but
not yet. Well, I think Allan's going to take off.
I got to run back downstairs, but it was really great meeting both of you guys.
Hey, nice to meet you too, Allan.
All right, so long.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, so I'll have to go in like 10 minutes or so. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to wrap up. We'll wrap up here in a minute.
But it's a very interesting time to be around, because the crypto space is growing so fast. And it's growing so fast and becoming legitimate so fast and hitting all these hurdles that were never hurdles before so fast. And it's funny because, I don't know, I feel like Dash has hit a lot of hurdles and gone past them. Like, what do we do with the crappy Litecoin code base? Well, we ditch it. And what do we do about difficulty, mining difficulty? Oh, we make sure we do dark web gravity waves so it adjusts every block. What do we do about privacy? We do this. What do we do about we can't fund our development team? Well, why don't we create a treasury? What do we do about double spends? Let's do instant send. Well, what do we do about no one using it because crypto is too clunky to use? Well, we'll start working on an evolution platform. Well, what do we do about this? What do we do about that? And then crossing those bridges as they come. And then there's a lot of things like a lot of ICOs and a lot of cryptocurrency is probably going to be a security. Like, that's probably illegal securities, just have not been categorized as such yet. So there might be a massive crash in a lot of coins if regulators get involved and say, no, these are legally securities. It is illegal to buy and sell them in this country or whatever. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of that stuff. It's not just going to be ICO. It's going to be a lot of pre-mined, sold coins.
Ethereum.
I mean, not just Ethereum, but like you just look at the top 10, 20 coins, like how many of those could fit the definition of a security. It's a little bit, let me tell you, it's a rough one.
Yeah, I know EOS, however you say it, right now you can register. You're supposed to register your EOS. And one of the things they're doing is that, if you have a US IP, they're blocking you. So I guess you have to use a VPN or something. That's probably to get around some of the security laws. And because, they're cracking down. I guess there's an investigation into Ethereum right now.
Better be careful, folks.
Yeah, I have heard that as well. And it's just like, what do you do if what do you do if regulation doesn't go your way? Well, you want to have some kind of a decentralized system that then does not require a centralized authority, right? And the thing is, the thing about Dash is trying to be above board with everything. Dash is trying to explore all the regulatory hurdles and get over them, make sure everything's nice and kosher. But if things were not to go that way, you can't, even if the current Dash core team is just like, well, they said we can't do this, we're gone. Dash would keep on keeping on. And other people would jump in, and it would just run maybe an underground dark web. Maybe they change the name back to Darkcoin. I don't know. However it would work, it would just keep on going. And I wonder if regulators really, I think they're starting to figure this out, is that a lot of these coins and projects, whatever the regulations might do to the economy around it, that it's going to be, it's kind of a fact of life. It's like, how do you regulate? Like, now that someone's invented firearms, what do you do about it? Well, they're going to be everywhere. Like, just because they exist and they're very efficient at killing people, which is kind of what they're made for. Once there's going to be people looking to kill other people, they're going to be doing it. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this reality, this force of nature? And so crypto is kind of like a force of nature, to where now this isn't like, do we allow it or do we not? It's like, how do we structure our reaction to it?
Yeah, and I sense a lot of fatigue within Dash community itself, because a lot of people are, they've learned about evolution for like years now, and they've been waiting, and there is a lot of anticipation in that. However, we have to remember we're working hard, and we've probably got more projects than in the top 10. If you think about all the projects that we're funded on a monthly basis, drip by drip, drop by drop, we're getting new merchants. New merchants are signing up to discoverdash.com every single day. So if you're ever on a down day looking at CoinMarketCap, just remember that. You're hearing it from me. Every day, new merchants are signing up on discoverdash.com. So
and
it's working.
And let me take a hater angle again, just because I'm good at that. I'm a professional hater, apparently. But no, there's a lot of hardworking, like disciplined people in Litecoin. However, let me talk about those who aren't. Like, you go to Litecoin Foundation's site, it lists 80 merchants, 50 of whom don't work anymore. I'm pretty sure there's more Litecoin accepting merchants out there than that. However, where is the discoverlitecoin.com? Where is the hardcore listing with the full-time employee going through like the live chat and then just putting it all down so it's useful to use? It's like, nah, it's instead just going for debit cards or whatever, so you don't have to do the hard work of adoption. And there's people all over the place. I mean, like, the Bitcoin Cash community is very energetic and very focused on adoption. But then there's other people like, oh, we're going to get Lightning Network to work on Bitcoin Core. Okay. And then what? Like, then what about the hard work of adoption? Like, you can't get anywhere without lots of hard work. You can't just be like, oh, we'll get listed on this exchange. And like, that's the thing. For the longest time, I've heard Dash people complain about Coinbase. Oh, we're only just get on Coinbase. We'd already be here at Coinbase. Oh, only Coinbase this. I get it, but that's not the hard work model. What about Uphold? What about getting people to use that? What about getting people to not need Coinbase? What about getting
Coinbase is easy. Yeah, Coinbase is easy. I've dealt with Uphold now and Kraken, and Coinbase was they're easy. I also saw that they've valued their company at $8 billion now. They're valuing, so they're pretty huge.
Well, yeah, I think Coinbase realized that they were on borrowed time, because everyone's talking about Binance at the moment because they're meant to be integrating their payment systems. It's their fiat trading pairs, hence why they moved to Malta. I know we spoke about this the other week, but like, I think Coinbase realized this with all the apps like Abra coming out, Robinhood. They kind of knew they're on borrowed time, especially on a global perspective because of the restrictions on a legal basis. So that's why they've taken the avenue now to acquire businesses to stay relevant. So purchasing earn.com for like 128 million, I think it was. And they're trying to acquire like grab places. So it's kind of like, when you get like these big virus companies, or like, or McAfee like back in the day, or like Google, to stay relevant, whenever you've got all these small up and coming businesses that are doing really well, they just take them and say, no, come here, and they just grow into this big evil monster. But
well, it's going to be something Dash ends up doing. Dash is going to find all these like up and coming type things and just like, here, we're gonna make sure we own you. Well, whether or not it's like an actual ownership, like the DAO owns it, or whether it's just like you give them a bunch of money for some special treatment that's going to last. And then that's the thing is, like with these conference sponsorships and things like that, it just made me think about how easily Dash could afford to be the premium sponsor of any kind of conference anywhere. And it's not like, I don't think that's the highest ROI thing that Dash could be doing by a long shot. So, which is why, otherwise I'd put in way more proposals. But it is kind of like that show of force type thing now, where now you'll be less like, oh, I'm jockeying for a position here and jockeying for a position there. It'll be more just like grinding through the hard work and then just throwing the money into key places and just building that network all the way up.
Exactly. I just feel like Dash is always the underdog, but even though everything that's going on, we're still pioneering and leading the way, and it's just like we're constantly just jabbing everyone in the face, and at some point we don't need to slug or do like haymakers to knock people out. We're just consistently jabbing them. We're going for the long game. We don't need to fight other people because we know there's people outside the ring. We want the audience, not just the other person in the other corner. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like it's the long game always.
Well, like Allan was saying, there's so many features for Dash and the Evolution platform that hasn't really been talked about. And I think some of that is strategic. They don't want to talk about it. And I think some of it may have just been fumbling the ball. I don't know, but yeah, there's so much that is just not out there. Like Chuck's interview. I mean, that was a great interview. It's on Dash Force News. Check it out with Danny. Yeah, it just seems like I don't know if they're. Go ahead.
I would think so. First off, biggest thing is I don't think they knew they could do this until relatively recently, or I don't think it was like an idea because in the beginning Dash is just usernames, easy username thing, and then they're like, well, username, recurring payments, and extra stuff. Then they're like, well, in order to build this, we'd have to change some backend stuff. But what if we did that backend stuff differently? Like in order to enable this basic functionality, how much more could we do with this? And then they're quiet for a few months or a year or whatever about like, all right, now we know what we want to do and all the amazing things that can do. We just have to make sure we're dead sure it's feasible and start building it before we start talking about it. And then they start talking. And then the other thing is once they start talking about it, I think a lot of them are just too focused on making it exist and work and to be just thinking about all the implications. Like it's not like, do you remember like early days Ethereum, like 2015, 2016 Ethereum? Like the Ethereum community, you just had every noob out there talking about how everything's going to run on Ethereum. Yeah. And like, it's not, I'm sure there was plenty of Ethereum developers doing this as well, but it was mostly people who were just like heard about the concept of Ethereum. And they're just saying like, your car is going to run on Ethereum. Everything's going to run on Ethereum. You're going to have an Ethereum smart contract that runs it and just not see how it works and be like, how is it going to work? So in order to do this, we're going to need that much gas. And eternal credit to Amanda B. Johnson for being the first person to pull the wool off from over my eyes on Ethereum, because when she heard about it and when she was doing the daily decrypt before she got involved in Dash, she heard about, Ethereum smart contract is great. And then so she actually has this video. Yeah. So if you look for viewers at home, go to YouTube, look for daily decrypt Ethereum. And then there's going to be a video about a smart contract. She made a smart contract. She said, well, this is great. I'm going to make one. So she made one. It was like, I don't know how to code Solidity. And I got to pay someone to code Solidity to code this contract. I got to implement it here. And I got this. And just, it was a very simple one of whenever her YouTube view count got to a certain level, it would figure that out and it would pay it out automatically, pay out like some money for that. And just that alone was difficult. And it was very expensive. And beyond that, with Ethereum, you would not have, say, your US dollar equivalent data there. You'd have to plug in an oracle that would get like you have to use a price oracle that then would interface with the smart contract and then get that out and stuff. And so, it's just so much more complicated than you think necessarily. And it is, I think, irresponsible to hype things too much, especially stuff you just have no idea if it's going to work. And the thing about Dash is Dash works now. It completely works now. Instant send works, private send works. It's worked for years. It's pretty comfortable recommending people use Dash, unless they're just trying to make a quick buck, in which case I'm like, you never know. But so I think with Evolution, people are talking about the platform and the state transitions and a few things. And what people know about Evolution, what it can do, is pretty simple. And the cooler stuff, like this is a high-powered DApp platform, you run everything. Like, there's a reason why there's only like losers like us kind of freaking out about it, because like you don't know how much of that is going to work yet. You don't know how much of this is going to be feasible. You don't know if there's going to be unintended consequences. You don't know if it's going to work great, but no one's going to use it because of some other reason. You don't really know that yet. So the future is just all unwritten, and this is It's a crazy time to be alive.
Yeah, the core protocol functions will be safe, and then the dApps are going to be able to plug it in, and yeah, people are going to be able to experiment, and it's going to be much easier than Ethereum, much more user friendly to with all the different languages without the what's the Ethereum one? Solidity.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it is.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Well, thank you, Joel, for joining us from Libertopia in San Diego.
No problem. I was getting tired of all that sunshine and looking out at the pool anyway.
Yeah.
So I got my talk in about a half hour. Going to be a lot of feels. Someone's going to get pictures of me. I'm going to make sure to slick my gut in the whole time so you get some good photos.
Oh, man. Well, good luck on that. I know you're going to do a stellar job. And, yeah, man.
Or a ripple job. How about that?
We'll just keep the ground game strong. You're there till Sunday, right? So the event's only just begun in some ways. So
there's a lot of stuff to bring through. I'll give your regards to all the team. I wish we could have had all them in on it, but just Allan's good enough.
Yeah, and if you want to follow Joel on Twitter, and if you haven't done already, at the Desert Links, I'm sure Joel's going to be posting pictures and images of the event if you are interested. And if not, you should follow him on Twitter anyway, because we're on Twitter like every day. If you're in crypto, you've got to be in Twitter, right?
That's better.
So at the Desert Links, no spaces, obviously. And
desert, dry, arid place. Links is in cat.
Meow. But not crypto kitties. Not those kinds. Right, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 50 of the Free Amigos. Time goes very fast. Thanks to Allan. He had to disappear. And I know in the title, which I'm going to have to change now, we were expecting Alex Werner of Dash Core to join us, but he's in Southeast Asia at the moment. I think it's 2 a.m. over there, so I think there may have been some miscommunication. So I'm sure we can follow that next week. Next week, we should have a very, very important guest on. So it's 99% going to happen. It's Glenn Austin, the new CFO of Dash Core. Well, newish. He's been there for a few months now, right? So that he's going to be a really great guest. So make sure you don't miss out next week, next Friday. So I'm going to go off to Discord now on the Dash Community Discord channel, dashchat.org, and I'm going to kick off the after party. If you would like to join in and just have an after party chat with some of the Dash community, please come join in the main chat. Just say, hey, where's the after party? And then I'll try and add you. There's only 10 spaces available, so be quick. That's just a limitation of the Discord chat. And yeah, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out dashforcenews.com, and we'll see you same Dash time, same Dash channel next week. Cool. Every Friday. 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. EST.
And noon Pacific Standard Time, as it turns out.
Excellent. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. And yeah, Joel, keep on fighting the good fight for us. And we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Bye.